Do you think your driving instructor is ripping you off? Guys, I've just watched a video by a driving instructor, an amazing driving instructor called Wheelwise Emma. Okay. Now, Wheelwise Emma is apparently a new driving instructor, and I've watched a couple of videos, and yeah, I'm liking the look of Wheelwise Emma. I've just watched a video by her, and I'm loving that. Like, so I had to like write to her immediately to tell her how amazing she is. She looks like this. So yeah, so basically in this video that I've just watched, she is saying that she has read like loads more stuff online. I think it was Facebook that she saw this, that there's more posts that she's seeing that like, she's seeing that people are saying, oh, I'm being ripped off by my driving instructor. Yeah, like I know that I can go to my driving test and I'm really good and blah, blah. And guys, to be honest with you, in this day and age, I don't think you're being ripped off yet. Like, I really, really don't think you're being ripped off. Like, I know that I'm talking about like 64,000 like driving instructors in Cheltenham. Sorry, in the UK. I think it's 60s. It's in the 60s. It may have gone up actually because more people are trying to be driving instructors now. But listen, since COVID, so many people need driving lessons. Yeah. So, without trying to be rude, yeah, if you decide to leave your driving instructor, there is other people who can immediately fill that space. So I can honestly say, yeah, that if you're being told that you need more driving lessons, it's because you need more driving lessons, yeah. Your driving instructor isn't trying to get money from you. I'm going to give it a 99.99999 just to cover my own back here, just in case. But like, honestly, it won't be because he's trying to get, or she's trying to get more money than you, because like, if you go, then there's going to be someone else. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you are needing more driving lessons if they're saying you need more driving lessons, yeah? Now, the reason why I like the video from Wheelwise Emma is because she's saying in the video that basically your driving instructor may turn around and say, look, I'm sorry, but you can't use my car for tests. Now, I've done this before, and driving instructors who see this blatantly are doing that as well, because getting the timing of somebody's test right now is very difficult, yeah? Back in the olden days, before COVID, you know, it would be like 6 weeks. You get somebody to get a test when they're like very close to being ready. And you had 6 weeks to learn all the test routes, do like, you know, your mock tests and everything. And that was fine. So it was like 5 lessons. But now it's like the test is like 6 months away or whatever. And, you know, to be honest with you, how can we get the timing right sometimes? You know, you book the test and then the person like gets ill or your car breaks. Hence why I'm making these videos. My car's broken. I can't see people. So, you know, things happen where there's a delay, or maybe you have to go back to, you know, your country to see your family because, I don't know, maybe there's been a bereavement and you're not even in the country for 3 or 4 weeks. Like, stuff happens, yeah? So how can we always get it right as a duo, as a team, yeah? So sometimes your driving instructor is going to be like, oi, I'm really sorry, but I can't give you my car because I'm on a triggering system. If I have too many fails, then I have to sit exams as well. We've tried to sit this test together. We're not ready and we're a team. I can't give you my car because I'm going to have to sit exams if I have too many. So, you know, you might get denied, even though you thought that you could go at that time. Now, I appreciate, yeah, that like cancelling a test is extremely annoying because getting a new one is very difficult, right? And this give it a go mentality is not safe. It really isn't safe, because what happens if you pass, yeah, and you really are not ready? It's incredibly dangerous, yeah? People are dying. I'm sorry, but like, it's very, very dangerous, yeah? And you honestly don't want to slip through the net, because if you slip through the net when you are not safe, we're talking about your life here and other people's lives. Yeah, I know 2 people who don't have the use of their legs anymore. I know them personally. One person, the girlfriend was driving, they had a catastrophic accident, and the other person in the car can't use his legs anymore. And my other friend, I'm afraid it happened to him. And he, you know, it's bad. Yeah. I've been a driving instructor for so long that this has been going on for years and years and years. I've said no, and then they've passed in their own car. I've heard, you know, and I'm like, oh. And Wheelwise Emma is basically saying that we see you over 40 to 60 hours, or like less or more, depending on you, your talent, and how much you're practicing, whatever, right? But what Wheelwise Emma is saying is basically we see you under all sorts of different situations. We see it when it's good. We see it when it's bad. We see it when you're tired. We see it when you've got a sniffle. We see it when you're stressed and you've had an argument with your boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever. And we see you over a kind of an array of times. And that's the clever thing about what Wheelwise Emma has said, because we see it as a whole. And what Wheelwise Emma is saying is, the driving instructor sees 40 minutes, yeah. And yeah, you might have the best 40 minutes of your life, but then later on, you don't know how to do a crossroads properly, or a roundabout, or a spiral roundabout, and you crash, yeah. So I remember being at the test centre once, and a driving instructor was on the phone, and his student had said that he'd booked a test. And he's a funny guy, but I remember the driving instructor just going, "Why have you done that? Mr. Bean's got more of a chance of passing his test." And I was like taken aback, because I don't talk to my students like that. But at the same time, the underlying message is that this person's not ready for their test, yeah? I mean, like, guys, it's... The other thing that I'll say about this, yeah, is when you go out and drive your test, do you want the person that's driving towards you to have slipped through the net? Do you want, like, other people to have gone to their test and not, you know, they've slipped through the net, they don't actually know what they're doing? Guys, I think a lot of the time that you guys are driving around like you're the one who doesn't know what you're doing, yeah, and everybody else does. I'm sorry, but that is not the case. You're dealing with people on the road today, yeah? Sorry, my battery's running out. You're dealing with people on the road today who don't even have a license. They may have just taken their parents' car and taken it for a joyride. Guys, I've heard that. I've heard... I've been with a student who has seen a friend driving, and they're like, they don't have their license. I know that they don't. And they've just nicked their mum's car again. I've heard that. I know people who have driven for years without a driving license. I've had people get in my car and go, "Ros, I want to be legit now. I've been driving illegally for years." These people have never had a driving lesson. You know, they've learnt on a farm or some, you know, the person that you want to drive towards you, you want them to know what they're doing because of your life. Yeah. So there's this kind of like, oh, everybody's like good and I'm the one who's like bad, or I'm the one, you know, we all need to be at a very good level. People are drug driving. They're like driving in rage after they've been divorced or dumped or cheated on. Yeah, or they're not feeling very well, or they're having heart attacks in the car, like, you know, or they're having diabetes like hypers, yeah, whilst they're driving. I know this is crazy, but these are real situations that I'm talking about. I've heard about this stuff, yeah. My students have had epileptic fits and had their licenses taken away, and then we've had to work, and then they've had to like take sort of drugs and then stop the drugs, and then we've had to monitor whether they can come back. There's all sorts of stuff going on, yeah. And we see it as a whole. We see it hours and hours and hours. We see you under all sorts of different situations, which is what Wheelwise Emma is saying. And this 40 minutes, yeah, we as a collective, driving instructors, are trying to keep you safe. And if you're with a good instructor, we're trying to keep the roads safe. Now, Wheelwise Emma has basically said on her bio that she's on a mission to keep roads safe. And yes, I can feel that. I understand that. I feel like I've got that in me as well. Like, I so wish that I could be like a movement to like look after the roads and look after the safety of the roads. People are dying, yeah. I remember one of my, this is a long time ago, But I remember one of my friends declining a test. This is years ago. This story is probably about 15 to 20 years old, yeah. But he declined a student, and the family was very upset with my friend driving instructor, and they thought he was ripping them off. And he just said she's not safe, yeah, basically. And she went to her test apparently, and she passed, right? So this confirmed that my friend was ripping them off. But guys, within 6 months, this girl had had a catastrophic driving accident and she'd lost her arm. And I know that is really, really frightening, but this is the reality, yeah? And the father had actually contacted my friend to say, I wish we had listened to you. Yeah, now I know that that's probably like, I considered about not saying it, but this is the reality of this stuff, yeah? We're talking about your safety, your life, other people's lives, yeah? People walking around just on the pavements and stuff, yeah? It's really important, guys. Please consider that you're not being ripped off. Please consider that your driving instructor is probably looking at it as a whole. Can you honestly say that every single driving lesson that you've had is perfection and you're not being helped, you haven't been physically helped or verbally helped on any driving lesson, and all your situations were totally good? As an example, that's just flashing into my mind now, I remember taking a student out on a lesson, and I was kind of like, they wanted to sit their test, and I was like, let's do a mock test, yeah, because I'm trying to get them to see that without my help, that they're not ready, yeah. And I remember just sort of pulling back, doing a mock test, and there's a lot of problems. I mean, we're talking serious problems, yeah, like having to grab the wheel before they change lanes so we don't crash, yeah. Lots of intervention verbally, physically, to kind of show this person that they're not ready, so they can take some responsibility and say, yeah, you're right, yeah. But then at the end of that lesson, I was like, so how do you think that went? And they're like, yeah, I think it's good, it's good. Guys, without my help, the car would have been totaled. People's lives were in danger without my help. And this is the kind of person that, if they're led to their own devices, then this could be seriously, catastrophically bad, yeah? I met somebody relatively recently who I'm still teaching. We get on exceptionally well. But when I met him, the story is this. He texted me and said, can I get on your waiting list? Can I learn to drive with you? And I said, no, you're going to have to go on my waiting list. And that's about 3 to 5 to 6 months for me, right? So anyway, I said to him, and he said, I've got my test booked. And I said, look, I'm sorry, but I just haven't got the space for you at the moment. 3 months passed, and then I texted him because he was the next in line. And I said to him, I'm ready for you to take driving lessons. He said, oh, great, because my test is in a week. And I'm just like, not in my car, it's not. I don't even know who you are. Do you know what I mean? I don't know who you are. I can't allow you to take my... I said to him, have you been practicing? No. Well, there's just no way in the history of ever that's going to be able to be done. Do you know what I mean? And he's lovely, right? We get on exceptionally well. But when I met him and we went out, guys, I'm teaching him how to drive. And I mean, teaching him, right? Because on the stuff that he did have going on, he was in an automatic. This is a geared car, yeah. So when I took him out and I said, look, I hope you can see why I can't let you go to this test. And he said, yeah. Anyway, he comes back to his next lesson and he said, my dad insists that I take this test. And I said, how could this be correct? You can't, with total respect, you don't know how to do a crossroads. You don't know how to do a roundabout. You don't know how to do any of your manoeuvres. As in, none. Your test is next week. He said, my dad insists that I go to this test. I said, how do you feel about that? He said, I don't like it. I don't want to go, but my dad insists. And I'm like thinking to myself, I mean, he was never going to pass, guys. I mean, he was never going to pass. But what if he did? I mean, he failed, right? He failed. Okay, obviously he failed. Of course he did. And he said it was absolutely diabolically awful in an automatic. He said it was absolutely horrendous. But what if he had passed? What if he had taken a test that was extremely easy with just left and right turns, you know, and it was just a very easy route and the base. Oh, what if, guys? Yeah, I mean, we're learning how to drive now, and do you know what? He's really good, and he has got the potential of being excellent. His commentary driving is amazing. I was like, honestly, you are really good. You know, it's a shame you haven't got a first time pass on your kind of life record here, because you could have had that. You could have had that. I think he's good enough to actually weirdly be a driving instructor, because he's extremely thorough. He's an extremely intelligent person. Very, very intelligent and very, very detailed. And funny enough, if he has the training, I think that long term, I think he could be a driving instructor. I think he's excellent. But you know, going to this test was incredibly dangerous. You know, that isn't a dangerous thing. And he said to his dad, he said, Dad, you know, I'm not ready. What happens if I crash my car on test? And his dad just said, that's a risk I'm willing to take. I don't know. I just, you know, Jesus. It just affects me, guys. You know, I've got children of my own, you know, and I'm just thinking, we just have a responsibility, you know, to not do stuff like this. So anyway, this post by Will Wise Emma, you know, just really did strike, because there's no way that a driving instructor in this day and age after the COVID situation is ripping you off. There's too much work. You know, if you're being told that you can't use the car, or you know, then the test date has come too quickly. It's all been arranged too fast. The instructor's worried about their report form, and they're worried about your safety and the road safety. And they want you to see. They want you to see with your own eyes. A lot of the time, a driving instructor, well, I don't know, maybe I can't speak for everyone, but a lot of the time, I want my student to see themselves. So a mock test is such a good idea. You know, what do you think? A lot of the time I'm like, well, would I let this person drive my kids to school? And if the answer's no to that, you know. Anyway, this has turned into a long thing. It's because I haven't got a car. I'm bored. So I'm making 18-minute long videos to TikTok. All right, guys. I hope that's some information. And check out Will Wise Emma. Yeah, she seems like a decent driving instructor. I like the way that she talks. Yeah. So check her out.